Without further ado, I'm really excited to introduce Ed Marsh, who's our treasurer and who's an amazing person. He's a dear friend. Let's have a big round of applause for Ed. Over to you.
Thank you. Let's just lower those expectations just a smidgen. Thank you. Okay, so it's my job to bring a few more numbers into your life. So if we could just have the slides and leave them there throughout, that would be fantastic. As we reflect on our use of resources over the last financial year, I just want to share a few examples with some numbers, actually, of things that we can be thankful for. First of all, 245 people the last financial year went on an Alpha course to explore more about faith across the Woodlands group of churches. We had 250 people attend a newcomers event to find out more about how to get connected to one of our congregations. Across the whole of last year, not just the last course, 268 people went on the wholeness course and had experiences just like we heard earlier on. We had 155 people that were trained for prayer ministry. We had, across December, 4,500 people through our doors at our various Christmas services across all our locations. We have currently 660 children and young people on our books for Sunday activities and groups. And, all with an opportunity to discover that there's a life of adventure with Jesus to come. And, we have this saying at Highgrove, there is no junior Holy Spirit. The reality is God is at work powerfully in the lives of our children and young people, and we're really grateful for that. And we've seen so much evidence of that throughout the year. That's a lot of children and young people connected with church. We gave £13,500 to support those as part of our church family who are in some kind of financial hardship or need last year. And as of this year, all of our buildings now use 100% renewable electricity. Isn't that good news? We're doing, as we think about using our resources, we're doing our best on gas usage as well. And so we're using Bristol Energy. So 15% of that gas is renewable gas sort of generated in Avonmouth. And we've got solar panels on the roof at Highgrove now, which is making the most of this heat wave we've got. It's a good job that we care about where our electricity comes from, because we have brewed over the last year 15,500 pints of coffee. And so we've enjoyed our new toilets as we have had 15,500 pints of coffee. Of course, it's just such an important part of our welcome, isn't it? Creating environments where we can welcome people in. We gave last year £312,000 away for global and local missions, sort of both at home and all the way around the world. Those are sort of numbers and statistics to sort of just create some examples of things that we can be thankful for to God this evening. But listen to this. These are not things that are, the work of an institution or an organization that's sort of out there somewhere, controlled by this sort of small group of people making decisions in a room. Actually, this is the Holy Spirit at work in the people of God, isn't it? It's God at work in our lives. It's actually us responding to the generosity and the love of God and choosing to give ourselves to Him. And we talk so often about those 3 C's. We talk about giving ourselves to Christ and giving ourselves to His church and giving ourselves to His cause. So, as we celebrate this evening, we want to thank God, but actually we also want to thank one another, because actually what it is it's us together being willing to participate by using our gifts, using our time. And then crucially, I think, through the generosity and the faithful and the committed financial giving that we give, not only to one another in church life, but actually to the cause of this church in the world. It's the cause of Jesus. Thank you so much for that, as we say thank you this evening. But here's how money works at Woodlands. Really easy, really simple, really quick. Just at the top here, you'll see all these circles. These circles are the different sources of income, and the arrows there sort of point to what that income is deployed in. Just to say, if you can't see the screen and you'd like a copy of these slides, just email office@woodlandschurch.net, and Kathy will be inundated with emails all week of sending these to you. You're very welcome to have a copy of these. But you've got all these sources of income on top. And actually, by far the biggest element is giving income. That's where most of our income comes from. And that's on the left-hand side there. We'll come back to that. We're just going to look at this right-hand side for a minute. Because actually part of God's provision for us over the years has been actually the ability to generate some rental income as a church and some income from some investments. And actually, we are using that income to invest both sort of in current ministry needs, but also in future kingdom ministry as well. And part of that is about sort of making funds available for improving and developing our premises and to make sure they can support our growth and are fit for purpose. It's about making sure we've got a head start on being able to sort of purchase additional property to be able to grow as the church continues to grow. But, in addition, for the time being, we are using £1 million of our capital to provide loans as part of a national scheme to enable churches all around the country to house and to care for the homeless. I would love to tell you more about that, but I need to move on. We are also, we're about developing thriving churches in local communities. And we've actually had a strategy of being able to provide short-term secured loans to key workers and volunteers in local communities to enable them to purchase a house, to put their roots in those communities. And our experience has been that having people living in local communities, getting involved in local community life, just as we've heard already this evening, actually resourcing outreach in a local community in a really intentional and incarnational way, actually that makes a huge difference to fruitfulness and to growth. And so actually there have been 6 such loans in the communities of Southmead and Brentry and Seamills and St Paul's. And as we've seen those sort of loans repaid and recycled to other situations, it's been a really great way to invest in sort of community engagement and growth. We're also thankful for this year for the opportunity to purchase the flat next door here, which has been really great. And so now we've got the left-hand side and we've got giving, and we see there a few different ways in which we get giving income. We see Sunday offerings. Thank you so much. Over £84,000 raised from Sunday offerings during the year, which has been amazing. There are a number of people who give very specifically to particular projects. We call that sort of earmark giving. That's sort of, particularly for that cause. But then absolutely key to sustaining our ministry as a church is this big circle right in the middle of the screen there. This is not, sort of giving and a Sunday offering. This is not sort of saying, here's a sort of string attached to this or a condition that I want you to use it for this particular thing. But actually, this is people giving towards the general day-to-day running of church life. This is usually monthly by direct debit or standing order, or sometimes there's sort of people are doing it online via credit or debit card. Occasionally we see the odd check. Who remembers checks? That's very much in the past, isn't it? But, general funds are what we use to employ staff that sort of pioneer and mobilize us all to be engaging in the mission of the church. Include people that are pastors and teachers and administrators and organizers and coordinators of volunteers. General funds are paying for these lights to be on right at the moment. Paying for coffee to be in the many, many pots. Pays for Alpha guests to eat food on an Alpha evening. It pays for our children to have safe environments to meet in when they're with us. It enabled the Hope 2018 mission celebrations to take place here, to be a base for all those thousands of young people coming to Bristol, and much, much more. Here's a chart just showing what's happened to our overall income from giving over the last 5 years. And it's good because it goes up. And you'll see just in this last year, there's been a really big rise. And that big rise has mainly been driven by a really, really large amount of sort of specific earmark giving. And most of that is for particular causes that actually we're going to be deploying sort of after the year end. But actually that bottom bit, the general giving bit, that's a real encouragement to us as well. Because actually over the last year, that bit has grown by 9.3%, which actually is fantastic and a real answer to prayer. But even more encouraging than that is that actually the increase in giving is great, but actually increase in participation is so much more encouraging than that. And so this year, the number of people giving to general funds for the very first time was 95 people. That's amazing. I think that's worth celebrating. That's really fantastic. I think, those are all things that we can be really thankful to God. And actually, that increase in general giving is really important because it means that we have the ability to grow and sustain the ministries that the work is involved in. And so, if you'd like to join in with that, there's a bit of information here, woodlandschurch.net/giving, and it's easier than ever before to give to church and set it up yourself online. But I realised that I can't finish. There'd be an absolute riot. Nigel would never forgive me if there wasn't a pie chart. So here is a pie chart. And what this pie chart is showing is just the ways, the overall categories, the way in which we deployed the giving income in the year. And there's every chance at the back that you can't see what that says. So do request a copy of the slides. And I've just realised I really can't see what it says either. But I'm just going to get a little bit closer. And it's just in the top there. It talks about global partnerships and city and community outreach, 27%. Gathered church, 16%. Children, youth and students, 21%. Teaching, discipleship and pastoral care, 12%. For capacity improvement projects, 9%. And giving received in advance for future, off by heart, future mission giving says 15. Thank you very much, need glasses. So that's that. So that's how the income from giving was deployed in the year. But if you're someone who just eats this stuff for breakfast, you absolutely love it, then our accounts are available from mid-July, either from the Charity Commission's website or from our website. This year, they're a bountiful 42 pages long, and they have colour pictures for the very, very first time. I consumed at least 100 pints of coffee putting these things together. You might only need a couple of pints to read it. Thanks very much.